Um, I was trying to get my regular mic to work, but for some reason it wasn't. So, yeah, I'll have to just speak into the regular phone mic, which I'm not really sure the sound quality is gonna be as good, as smooth. But as requested by my number one fan, you know who you are. Thank you. My number one support. A good friend of mine, he asked me why I wasn't posting anymore, and honestly, I've been so busy with work and, so many other thoughts that I just really haven't had the time or felt like posting. And sometimes I just feel like, what's the point? Nobody really wants to hear my internal monologues or like kind of diary entries about how I feel. I think sometimes everybody's got something profound to say, but me, I don't really consider myself all too deep or profound like anybody else. Maybe sometimes I stumble into something, saying something that hopefully resonates with somebody, but for the most part, I just speak from my mind and my heart, or whatever I feel needs to be shared, or likes to be shared. Oh, look at the birdie. But I'm in the park right now. Very, very beautiful. Maybe you'll even pick up on some of the cicadas, or I'm not sure if those are cicadas or not. But there's a lot of people here right now. Just came out by myself for a nice walk and enjoy the nature, because I don't always do that all the time, but I like to. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, now there's like a whole crowd full of people like walking around me, so it's kind of embarrassing. I could just pretend like I'm on the phone, I guess, which I am on the phone, but like not talking to myself, like a lunatic. But anyways, going back, what I thought about talking about today was a few different topics and things, whatever kind of floats to my mind. But what I was talking about with said friend the other day was that I was driving the other day and I just looked up at the sky. It happens a lot when I'm driving because I've been driving a lot more lately. So anyways, I looked up at the blue sky, the clouds, and I thought to myself, it is so, I'm gonna swear, but it's so fucking beautiful, It's so beautiful. And then today as I walked around at the park here, and I looked at a flower, just something, you know what I mean? Just sometimes you get moved by something, the beauty and awe of the world, that it moves you so deeply you feel like you're about to cry, or you do cry. Well, that's what was happening earlier. Like, sometimes I'm so in awe of the earth, the world, life itself, that I'm moved to tears. I'm so thankful for being here. I think we forget a lot. We lose touch of ourselves and nature and just the gorgeousness, the beauty of being alive. And sometimes we're just struck and reminded in the most simplistic moments, And I think there's something so beautiful. Do I know any other adjectives? I don't know. But about that. And then I smelled a butterfly bush. I smelled some flowers from the butterfly bush, and it just did something to my heart. Like, the scent, the fragrance was so beautiful. It like calmed my heart and my nervous system. And just things like that are so beautiful. But also another thing, when I was driving, I was talking about this to my friend, and he was saying everything's temporary. Everything's temporary. And we got into this discussion. But how we got started on the conversation was, I said I saw a dead animal on the road, and I'm sorry to anybody sensitive, but it was a domesticated animal. It was a cat. Well, there were a lot of dead animals that I see as I'm driving along the road, especially when I drive for longer periods and durations. And honestly, I was like, oh, I know that a natural progression of life is life and then death. It's natural. We live and then we die. But I couldn't stop my mind from thinking, I was thinking a lot of racing thoughts, that's what you get for unmedicated ADHD, I guess. But, basically, a lot of people are around, so I'm trying to be quiet because I'm getting anxious. But, okay, they're walking away. But, yeah, it doesn't stop the pain of death and the sadness surrounding it because of the unknowns of it. But I was thinking about how some of these animals, whether they're domesticated or not, on the road that have been struck, like how sometimes this is a trigger warning for some, possibly, were in agonizing pain before they died. How long did they have to suffer there on the road, gasping, not understanding what's going on, before they were relieved of their pain. And nobody deserves that. And I started thinking how sometimes the best people, the best animals, the best living things, they sometimes get cast a bad hand, or they go through some not terrific, what's the word? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. It started with a T, I think. Like terrifying, but that's not the word I was looking for. Events in their life that can absolutely destroy a person, or they die a horrible death. And some things are just not fair. And I get that life is not fair. Life is a gamble. It casts its hands. You never know what's gonna happen. But it deeply saddens me sometimes about that. I don't think anybody deserves a horrible and terrible death or tragedies in life. But also, we were talking about perspective. It's all about perspective. So I do think if you look at your challenges in life as like a teaching opportunity, that you could view everything negative in a more positive way. Did that negative thing have to happen? No. Should it have? No, not necessarily. But I think it's the way that you spin it, the way you shape it in your mind, the way you take it and carry it with you. It's all about perspective. Life is all about perspective. Life is all about experiences and our perspective. But so anyways, he was saying that everything is temporary. And I was like, Well, I agree with you, but I also don't. Because I think everything is temporary, but everything is forever. So he was saying, like, some of our past experiences together, how everything was just temporary. He was kind of looking from it from a negative viewpoint. And I was like, no, yes and no. Yes, everything changes, but everything is forever too. Because in that moment in the past, it's always there in our memories, in our minds. It already happened. So it is, in a way, forever. It is temporary, but it is forever. Because there's no changing it, there's no undoing it, there's no not having it or not being done. Because once it's done, it is done, and it is done forever. So although everything, it's this huge oxymoron, this huge contradiction, everything is changing and temporary, but everything is already forever as well, after it happens. So even if life, no matter what religion you are, nobody really knows what will happen after death, whether you believe in an afterlife and something afterlife or not. But even if we go to sleep, even if there's nothing afterlife, if we close our eyes and there's nothing ever again, which I personally don't believe to that, constraint of thought, but if that's what you believe, that in itself, our impact on the world, what we have done, what we have created, the people we have touched, the stories that we have passed on that will continue on and on and on, our impact that we made on the world, even if there's nothing after, a part of us is still forever. We are still forever. We are still temporary, ever-changing, and that's another thing we talked about. I was like, isn't it funny how... I was like, I feel like I'm a totally different person from years ago. Like, I'm different, but I'm the same. Like, I'm completely different from years ago, from a child, There's this quote, I like quotes too much, but okay. And it's like, there's this quote, when I was a child, I thought like a child. Now that it's something like that. But it's funny how, going back to what I stated earlier, how our experiences shape our perspective in life and us moving forward, and our viewpoint of life. That really makes who we are. So all our past experiences, the way we view something, and what we take from those experiences and our own perspective on it. But anyways, like how that basically shapes just about everything about us. And how years ago you could have been a totally different person. When we were a child, we were a totally different person. But we are still the same, even so. So that goes back to the ever-changing, temporary but forever kind of mind state and, thing we were talking about. But, what else I wanted to talk about was, okay, this is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a more, not heavy topic, but kind of, me and my mom were driving the other day, okay, and, it was a little while ago. We were driving, and, my mom made a turn. She should have maybe waited, but the car was far enough back that we were fine. Well, the person that we turned in front of, they were far enough back, but they are obviously upset about our own actions, like my mom turning in front of them. And they are probably like, I don't know, I can't I can't really estimate how far back they were, but it was ample time, adequate time for us to make the turn safely. So anyways, we are in the process of making the turn. This guy, he was right beside another car. Well, I don't know if it was a guy, okay, so this person sped up so fast as my mom was making this turn. And they wanted to hit us. And, I have a little car. They were in like an average size car too, but they wanted to hit us. They weren't slowing down. They weren't stepping on the brakes. They were trying to rip into our car. And I'm just saying, I would have died. This was yesterday. I would have died for sure. And my mom probably would have been severely injured because it was on my side, or killed too. And maybe that person would have too. And that's the thing that I was thinking about. I wasn't angry that they did it, because if it's my time, it's my time, and what am I going to do about it? There's nothing I can do to change it. Why worry about it? Why fret about it? And I wasn't angry at this person because, again, life and death is a natural progression. Was I nervous in the moment? Yes. There was that spike of cortisol, there was that spike of adrenaline, there was that, slight fear of not knowing what's beyond. I guess, we all want our own control of things, right? But in reality, I don't want to control things. I want to be surprised by life. And I want to be amazed by it. And I want to appreciate it. But anyways, going back to that person, that guy, or that man or woman, or whoever it was, that person, I started thinking, my mom was kind of bitching. She was like, what the fuck? Like, people are so messed up. Yes, people are. People are so messed up. That's another thing I want to talk about. But really, what I wanted to speak about is we don't know what somebody's going through and why they make the decisions that they're making. So that person was probably hurting, and they feel like a solution to that hurt is hurting themselves and other people. And I can't just condemn somebody else and overall call them a monster and say that they're sick and sadistic and twisted when I don't know what they've been through. It's so easy to point fingers and say, this person is a monster, this person is all bad, when we all have the capacity to be good or evil, and we choose every single day, every single time, and sometimes we make mistakes. And I do think people should be held accountable for their mistakes, but can you just label somebody a monster when we don't know everything that they've been through? I think that's just an easy thing for people to do, and people are, yes, endlessly fascinated about serial killers, about killers, about murders, about why people do things. And in reality, we will never fully know a person, not even ourselves. And that in itself is so endlessly fascinating. And you know what else I was thinking about as I was walking these flower gardens was that, can somebody really love you if they don't fully see you? And I think yes and no, because we don't even fully know ourselves, and we're the closest to knowing ourselves. And I don't know if that makes us love ourselves more or hate ourselves more. But anyways, that's a totally different topic. But can somebody really love you when they don't know the fullness of who you are? Or is loving somebody wanting to try to know the fullness of who somebody is, their imperfections, their mistakes, but also seeing the beauty through all of that? And I think yes, right? But anyways, I think it's easy to slap an overall label on somebody, but also we know trauma changes the brain. So if somebody was severely mentally, physically, emotionally, a squirrel must have just dropped some nuts. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. He's throwing nuts at me. That sounds inappropriate, but anyways. I hope nobody heard that because that would be weird. But anyways, yeah, it's easy to slap an overall label on somebody, but we don't know everything they've been through. People repress things. People don't share things. People don't even know why they make certain choices or actions when they're doing them, whether it be trauma, fear, our own experiences, our own perspective on life. And do I think sometimes people just snap? Yes. Yes, I do. I think life can be extremely, terribly hard at points and moments in life. It could be lacking understanding. You could be totally lost. And I think we're all lost to a point throughout our whole lives. But there's beauty in that confusion. There's beauty in that being lost. There's beauty in all of it, in trying to be found, in finding ourselves over and over and over again, and getting lost over and over and over again. I actually wrote a poem about it before, but anyways, one day maybe I'll share my poems and stuff, but not on here. Maybe. But yeah, anyways, I don't know. I have that chaotic brain right now. Maybe nothing I'm saying is making any sense. Because sometimes I feel like I make no sense anyways. And I have nothing insightful to really say. I feel that way. But we all get down on ourselves, right? But yeah, I don't think people are all or nothing. I think we're so much more. I think you have to take the bad experiences, you have to take the pain, you have to shape it in a way that's beneficial to you. You have to look at it from a perspective of growth, of beauty, and you can't just look at people and label them all or nothing. When we don't know, even your best friend, you don't know everything they're going through. Even yourself, you don't understand why you do things sometimes. I think that's an easy way for people to cope, to understand things, to just get over things. But yeah, try and broaden your perspective and open your mind to that. And I think we all know that, but we all forget that sometimes, and some things are just unexplainable. But yeah, I forget what else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, I kind of remember what I wanted to talk about. I was gonna talk about what I think people sometimes think will make them happy. I've talked about this many times. Isn't really what will make them happy. Like, people think money, power, pushing your ideas on other people, making everybody believe what you believe will make them happy. That would be so freaking boring. Let's just be honest. If everybody was exactly the same as you, had the same perspectives, didn't challenge you, didn't push you or open up your beliefs, that would be so boring. So freaking boring. But also, yeah, money makes things easier. Yeah, sex is great. Yeah, certain things we think will make us happy, but it's just temporary. I think really what does make a person most happy from my own perspective, and I guess it could vary widely and largely person to person, but I think everybody just wants to be understood, to be seen for who they really are, if that's possible, to be accepted, appreciated, loved. I think being in a community where you feel like you're included, being in nature, having experiences, having constant growth and push, and doing things that make you happy. Obviously, that's what really makes people happy. You know, that's just what I feel like, keeping in touch with that childlike wonder, but still growing as an individual and that old soul connection as well. You know, listening to music, dancing around, these are obvious things. Reconnecting with nature, with laughter, with love all around. Falling in love with life and the beauty of it, the not understanding of it, the newness of it. Because as far as we know, this is our one life and we have to live it to the fullest. And yes, there's a lot of ugliness in the world. There's a lot of death, things we can't comprehend, things we don't understand. But there's so much beauty, foundation, and understanding in it all too. There's so much wisdom to be had, challenges to face for growth, so much kindness to share and revel in, so much beauty, so much connection, heart connection, mind connection, nature connection. There's so much still yet to experience, hopefully. And I think that's what we really live for. The things we don't expect, the things still yet to come, the things that have already happened, that have shaped us. But remember, you choose your perspective on life. You could always switch it around. You could always view things from a different way. You could always stay stuck in a stagnant mind frame. And I know it's easier said than done to think more positively or to try and change a negative situation into a positive. Because I don't believe in toxic positivity. I believe everything could be used for our growth, though. And I think, if I'm being honest, I think everybody has crazy thoughts sometimes. I think everybody dislikes themselves deeply sometimes. I think everybody feels mistreated by the hand they were given in life sometimes. Misunderstood. This is just the human experience. And it's hard. Oh my gosh, guys. Here, I wasn't gonna keep the visuals on this video, but look at, that kind of looks like a face, I feel like, in the tree, right there. Do you see it? I've actually never carved my name into a tree before, but I don't really want to hurt the tree. But I think it's really cool that something could last. Some of these people may have passed on, you know, like, and they've imprinted themselves on this tree forever, maybe together with somebody else. That's so cool. Tree tattoos. No, but for real, honestly, really. Maybe one day when I get married, I could do that with my husband or something. That would be really nice. Maybe. But yeah, here, let me flip it. You guys can see the tree. Isn't that beautiful? I really don't know what kind of audio this is picking up because there's a lot of noises and other things around. Birds chirping, that's beautiful, but there's also the the audio from the cars passing by near the street level. So yeah, there's that. But I kind of wish I could, look how beautiful, I could like fall into this tree, like, or climb all the way to the top as a little kid. Okay, guys. Oh, the robin was right by me. But yeah, Go outside, feel the sun on your skin. Feel how beautiful, almost orgasmic that feels. How lovely. Like, just experience the beauty. Just really live your life. Look at here, I'll show you the robin. Oh, oh, he just flew away now, but but yeah, guys, I think I'm going to go because I never know what I'm talking about and I just babble and ramble on and everybody thinks I'm crazy at this park and I never know what I'm talking about and just intrusive overgoing thoughts that maybe never make sense, but hopefully you got something from it, and if not, I'm sorry. But okay, yeah, bye.